Okay. To do today's lesson, you've got to remember how to do long division. So we're going to divide 4,307 by 39. I don't know why I made that divider so long. So remember, gosh, it's been for probably a long time since you had to do this by hand. 39 doesn't go into 4. It does go into 43 one time. So 1 times 39 gets me 39. And then remember, you subtract that. And you bring down the next one. 39 goes into 40 one time. 1 times 39, you subtract that. Bring down the next one. 39 doesn't go into 17. So you put a 0. So we subtract, and then there's nothing left. So 4,307 divided by 39. Now, when y'all were first little kids, you would have said that was 110 with a remainder of 17. Okay, and then eventually you got to a point where you were like, oh, I can write that as a mixed number. It's 110 and 17/39. But what we're hoping that y'all realize is 100 mixed numbers are just, it's 110 wholes plus 17 of the 39 added to it. Okay, so because that's the idea that we're going to need to use today. So we're going to do this with polynomials. We're going to take an x squared plus 6x plus 12 and divide it by an x minus 3. So up here we were just like, oh, well, how many times is 39 going 43 one time? But you can also think of, like, what do I need to multiply 39 by to get a number that'll go into 43? I prefer to think it that way because I can go, well, how many times does x go into x squared, which is fine. X squared divided by x is x. But I think it's easier to think about, like, what do you multiply x by to make it x squared? An x. And then just like we did up here, we take that and you multiply and you write it here. So x times this entire x minus 3 gets me x squared minus 3x. But just like in long division, we're going to subtract that. So x squared minus x squared is gone. 6x minus a negative 3x is the same thing as 6x plus 3x. And then just like in long division, we bring the next one down. Now look at it again. What do you multiply x by to make it 9x? A positive 9. And then I multiply this out and subtract it. 9x minus 9x is gone. 12 minus a negative 27 means 12 plus 27, which is 39. So the answer to this, it goes x plus 9 full times with a positive 39 out of what I was dividing by, left over. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking a polynomial function, dividing it by some divisor that's a polynomial, and you end up with a quotient, which was this, plus some remainder out of what you were dividing by in the first place. Okay, so let's try another one. We're going to divide an x cubed minus a 4x squared by an x squared minus 16. Now, I'm hoping you didn't write that very big because I'm going to rewrite it and actually work it because you'll start seeing the problem. What do you multiply x squared by to get x cubed? Oh, that's an x for sure. So when I start multiplying, well, things didn't line up. And I can move, shove them down, all this, but the easier way to work all this, I think, is you want to hold the place of every degree all the way down to a constant term. Like if you're dividing into x cubed minus 4x squared, let's throw in a 0x and a 0 out on the end. And then same thing here. What my divisor is x squared minus 16, but that's an x squared plus no x's minus 16. So it's like, okay, well, what do you multiply x squared by to get x cubed? Just an x. So I'm going to multiply and write it here. Now everything lines up with like terms. So I get a negative 4x squared plus a 16x, and I bring the next one down. So if there's 3 terms here, you want 3 terms there. What do you multiply x squared by to get negative 4x squared? That's a negative 4. And then we'll subtract it. So this is gone. And x squared plus 0x minus 16 won't go into 16x minus 64. So that's my remainder. So I get an x minus 4, and we'll add in a 16x minus 64 all over that x squared minus 16. Now, depending on how much you've done in algebra, some of you might be sitting here going, well, I think I might could do something to that. And you can. Like you can take a 16x minus 64. Well, hang on. 16. Yeah, because you can factor out the 16 and leave x minus 4. Oops, looks weird. And this is an x plus 4 and an x minus 4, and then these cancel. So you might actually see the answer written this way. And now that I've done this, I'm like, I don't even know that I'll do that in class today because we haven't talked about factoring things out and all that. So let's just ignore the fact that I said that. Just so I don't want to confuse anybody and do something we kind of like. You know how back in chapter 2, the book sort of got ahead of itself? Yeah, I think me doing that probably just got a little bit ahead of myself because we haven't done that yet, which is weird. There's lots of things about this book that I find odd. And the fact that they would do long division before they just taught you how to do regular cleaning up fractions. It's just strange to me, but oh well. Let's keep going. So we're going to take 4x plus 1 and divide it into a 4x cubed plus a 13x squared plus a 27x plus 6. And then we're just going to go to town. Subtract it. 13 minus 4 is 9. And then, ooh. Why did I put a... Oh my gosh, I'm being stupid. I was like, did I really mean to put one with a fraction? But we won't go to town because right here, Gwen, that times that is 16x cubed. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. How about we try that again? Okay, so what do you multiply 4x by to get 4x cubed? That would be just an x squared. Hopefully you're sitting going, whoa, what's she doing? That didn't make any sense. So this will leave a 12x squared. That looks better. Okay, so then I need a positive 3x to get that 12x squared. That's a 24x. Bring the 6 down. You multiply 4x by 6 to get 24x. Ooh, yay, it went into it evenly. So that's just x squared plus 3x plus 6. Okay. And that's what this was saying. If the remainder is 0, the divisor divides the polynomial function evenly. It goes into it evenly. Okay, you can probably tell I'm not very good at the whole editing process because that did not go seamlessly. Probably when you're listening to this, if you're actually listening to this, I made a typo. So, and I caught it when I was going back through here. So, there's no x squared. So I'll fill it in with a 0. And then we'll just go to town. Subtract that out. 3 minus 6 is negative 3. 0 minus 4. Bring down the next one. What do you multiply x squared by to get negative 3x cubed and negative 3x? And we'll subtract all that. Negative 4 plus 9 is 5x squared. 6 is 11x. Bring the next one down. We need a 5 to make that 5x squared. We'll subtract this. 11 minus 15 is negative 4, negative 11. So you end up with 2x squared minus 3x plus 5 with an added negative 4x minus 11 out of what I was dividing by in the first place. Make sure I worked all these out yesterday on paper, so making sure I get the same thing today because Lord knows there's enough places for me to make a mistake. Now, this answer's fine. I just want you to see probably what other folks do. This is, if I took the negative out of both of those up top, then I can bring that negative out front and write it this way. So just so you know, those are the same answers. This one's a little bit more cleaned up. And it's something that folks mess up a lot for some reason when they're first learning algebra. I think it's just because folks mess up fractions a lot for whatever weird reason. I still haven't quite figured out why, but oh well.